Welcome back to another video in this YouTube series where we talk in Spanish, just say some random story basically. I put the subtitles in English and Spanish so that it's easy to follow along with, and then I do a little bit of a vocabulary breakdown so we can dive into some of the more maybe complex phrases or phrases that I think will be useful for you to practice over the next few days. Feel free to watch this over and over again. Obviously, in YouTube you can also slow down the video if you'd like to do that. So without further ado, we're going to get into the story. It's not a true story. I just, typed up something real quick. What I encourage you to do with these stories is not just use it for listening practice, but use it in your speaking practice as well. What does that mean? Take some of the verbs, write down some of the verbs that you see, and try to make them in your own stories. Use them for different subjects and in different tenses until you can make up your own stories and your own phrases using these vocabulary words and verbs that you learned today. So, let's get into this short story. Ayer, mientras trabajaba en la oficina, me pasó algo curioso. Había una reunión importante programada a las 10 de la mañana, pero cuando llegué a la sala de conferencias, me di cuenta de que había olvidado mi cuaderno con todas mis notas en mi escritorio. Decidí correr rápidamente para buscarlo, pero al volver casi chocó con mi jefe. Él me miró sorprendido, pero luego se rió y dijo, "Tarde, Michael." Al final, la reunión salió bien, aunque me prometí no olvidar mis notas otra vez. Alright, so obviously not a true story. And real quick before we get into the breakdown, if you see yourself having fluent conversations in Spanish within a few months, and you'd like my 3 strategies on how to become fluent in Spanish within a year, where I show you what you need to focus on and not focus on, how you should practice and how you shouldn't practice in order to accelerate your Spanish learning and be way more efficient than following the traditional way, I'd say, of learning Spanish. I put all of this together in a free training. So all you got to do to save your spot in this free training today is click on the link in the description of this video and you'll be able to check that out now. So let's get into a quick little vocabulary breakdown. So first one, había una reunión importante. So the word había, this means there was. It doesn't matter if it's singular or plural. Now the 2 ways to say there was is either había or hubo. Hubo is for things that there were or was something there, but there's not anymore. If I were to say, hubo un hombre ahí, there was a man there, that would imply that he's not there anymore. But if I'm just describing something like, hey, there was a meeting, an important meeting, or hey, there was a guy there, and I'm just describing something in general, I would say había. Me di cuenta de que. This means I realized. That is, I know there's 5 words to just say I realized something. It's almost like you're literally saying I gave myself account of that. It's really weird, and it took me a long time to remember this. It's a super useful phrase, obviously. I mean, there's so many different ways to say I realized something, but it's just one of those things that you're going to have to use over and over again and practice and get down. Now, to say this for other subjects, like he realized something, it would be se dio cuenta de que. You don't really need the de, but it's a little bit more common to say de que. You could just say que, by the way, so if that helps you, you could just say me di cuenta que, but a lot of times, most times you'll hear me di cuenta de que. Casi, almost. Chocar is like to crash or collide into somebody, whether it's in a car or just in real life. So when I said casi choco con mi jefe, it's I almost crashed into my boss, or I almost ran into my boss. Al final, at the end, I like to think of al final as at the end of the day. So you could say, hey, at the end of the day, this happened. So, al final, la reunión salió bien. So the meeting went well. Salió bien is a great phrase to know to say that something went well. It's almost like word for word you're saying it went out well, because we're using the verb salir, which means to go out somewhere. So, if you're going out on a date, salir, or if you just want to go out to a restaurant, salir a un restaurante. But if you say salir bien, it means that something ended up going well. So you could even say, espero que salga bien todo. I hope that everything goes well. Or you could ask someone, salió bien eso? Did that go well or end up well? So those are some of the more important vocabulary words and phrases that I noticed that stuck out to me. Remember to take these verbs and use them over and over again with your own subjects and with your own stories, make them useful to your life. And again, make sure that you sign up and for my free training. I put the link to that in the description so that you can learn how you can accelerate your Spanish learning this year. Be sure to subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it. It really helps out and helps other people who are learning Spanish like you see these videos. See you in the next one. Ciao.